Hello and welcome to the ATF Cast. If that's anything that fires. Here we discuss science, firearms, the day-to-day, and, whether you'd like it or not, we sure don't, politics. The bounds are unscribed, the beliefs full of dis, and the bifocals simply unacceptable. We are a pinch of lava and a heaping cup of I don't know what the fuck is going on. So join us on our journey of nonsense and an attempt to learn more, while we do our best to put on a smiling face, keep our eyes upon the moon, and ride the waves of entropy in this ever-changing world. We are the ATF Cast, and we're just having fun. I'm your host, Evan, and as always, we are joined by your lovely co-host, though he hates that I say lovely every time, Matt Halava. How you doing, Pops?
Doing good, Sonny boy. How are you?
I am excellent. I'm exhausted. It was a crazy weekend. I've had a 20-ounce Red Bull in the last hour, so being that I haven't drinking a lot of energy drinks recently, I'm reasonably energized. Hopefully that lasts, because I'm also drinking beers, so that might counteract.
It might, or hopefully it doesn't flush through you faster.
Yeah, I may have to take a pee break. I did just consume like 40 ounces of fluid, so
Nice.
Yeah.
How you're hydrated?
Well, mostly with what do they call them? Not dehydrants. You know the term, I'm sure. Something science.
I was just waiting to see if we'll pull in your mind. So it's not an exfoliant.
Correct. So yeah, as all the water's ripped from my body, I'll probably have to diuretic. Thank you, Rick.
There you go.
That's the one. Okay. Almost English major here.
Your head. I didn't realize that Sick Nick was helping you out there, English major.
Yeah, he's always here for me when I can't find the words.
Outstanding.
So
what's new and exciting?
Well, a lot, but I'm going to start with my shortcomings yesterday as to why we didn't go live. I've been preparing to move, change apartments or living situations, whatever. And yesterday I woke up, drank like a pot of coffee, and just started sprinting around. Went to Home Depot, bought like 12 boxes, and just went on a packing frenzy. And then looked up at the clock, saw it was 3:45, and couldn't find any of my cords. Started running around saying shit, fuck, shit. I know. I texted you. I was like, "Hey, can we push to tomorrow?" And you're like, "Is everything okay?" Yes. Mm-hmm. Maybe I should call my dad.
That's all I care, as long as everything's okay. Exactly.
Yeah. So I couldn't find my camera cord, which I have 2 of, and for some reason I thought these aren't important, and threw them in a box and took them downstairs. And so, yeah. Last minute, I was like, let's do tomorrow, because I'm already sprinting around. I've had way too much caffeine, and maybe I need a moment.
You probably did. So
yeah.
So then, what'd you have for dinner?
I ordered some bibimbap through DoorDash.
Bibimbap?
Yeah, have you had it?
No.
It's like Asian Chipotle. It's
what?
Yeah, it's super delicious. You get a bowl, you can get rice and beans and potatoes and meat of choice, and then they have like, I don't know, pineapple and mushrooms and carrots and kale and cucumber and all kinds of good stuff to toss in there.
And then
they have some sauces. I got some spicy mango curry sauce on my bowl.
Oh
yeah. So I ate half of it as soon as it showed up, and then realized that I was full because I hadn't eaten all day. And then about an hour later, devoured the rest and slept like a baby.
Huh. So is bibimbap like Chipotle, and they're all over the place, or what?
They are becoming more and more all over the place. They're, dispersing rapidly. But yeah, they're delicious. And I haven't really done the research, but I have to guess that they're probably some of the more healthy food as far as fast food is concerned, because most of the vegetables, it's, you watch the folks back there chopping them up fresh.
Nice.
Toss them in a bowl, and so
yeah, they're either towards Cleveland, Westlake, Strongsville, Beechwood, or multiple in Columbus, Reynoldsburg. So a little bit bigger down where you're at, Grove City, Toledo. Well, I'm gonna have to screenshot that and remember. There we go. To look that up at some point.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. So,
Yeah, I don't think DoorDash is going to deliver to me, an hour away. But next time I'm heading up that way, maybe I'll check them out.
yeah, there you go. We'll have a little dinner at the local fast food crib.
Ooh.
So, with all that packing, as of yesterday, had no idea where I was moving. I applied to one apartment like Thursday, and was supposed to pick up the keys and pay the deposit Saturday. But they called me Saturday and said, "No, you're denied. Your credit score, we don't like it." So I applied to another apartment in the area, pretty new, and they called me back today and said, "We just filled our last apartment, so you're kind of shit out of luck."
Huh.
Yeah. And then they sent me.
Oh, that was nice of them.
Yeah, I mean, they said it politely.
Was that like verbatim? Oh, okay. So that wasn't their exact words.
Yeah, no, it was said pretty professionally. But
they must have had some bebop. And their stomach was full, so they're being polite.
Beep bop, beep 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 bop. Yeah. So they sent me on a list of like 3 other apartments that's under the same management company, and called one. No answer. Called the second on my list, and their 1-bedroom start at $14.99. So I was like, no, thank you.
Proud of that.
Yeah, that's a little extreme. And, they only had 1 pool table. I was like, they probably have some awesome game rooms and a fitness center. And like they had a little dainty pool and 1 billiards table. I was like, that doesn't really fit the script.
I mean, is there 1 bedroom 20 by 24 or something? I mean, is it a huge bedroom? Like you could make 2 rooms out of it?
It was 675 square feet.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's not great, especially for the things I want to do with having 2 bedrooms and having an ATF studio and the upcoming podcast, the Turbulent Ones, that I'll be doing with Riley. So, yeah.
Some CrossFit or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. But
cross-country ballroom dancing.
Honestly, that sounds kind of enthralling. I might be into that.
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. So, the original plan, as far as moving is concerned, is my supervisor at work has been gathering some rental properties, and he was going to rent me a duplex in Plain City, which is like 6 minutes from work. But he's run into some remodeling process roadblocks, so it wasn't quite ready. And I offered to finish the work, finish the walls, do the plumbing, whatever needed to be done. And, he offered me free rent for as long as I was working, but, no drywall or anything. Oh. And with the podcast and everything that's going on, I was like, it'd be nice to have a more stable environment to move into immediately. So right. Today I was telling him of all of my hardships through the weekend. I'm getting denied and then seeing the prices of things. And he's like, well, actually, my wife and I just bought a house this weekend, and it's going to be ready to rent in the next 45 weeks. I don't know if you can live with someone in the intermediate, but it's yours if you want it, because the duplex didn't work out. So nice. Shook hands with them. I'm signing the contract tomorrow. It's a 2-year lease agreement. Nice little house with a 2-car garage and a room for doing the studio setup. So I have a genuine studio environment here coming up soon, and I'm no longer running around frantic trying to figure out where I'm going to live in a couple of weeks.
Nice. And you found your cables for the camera and everything. So things are good.
Yeah, I went and untaped some boxes, so everything worked out.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think so. Very much less stressed, and yeah, now I'm just chilling. I packed up most of the apartment in the last 2 days, so now I don't have to rush as much. I'm going to do month to month on my current lease until that house is ready, and I know where my cords are, so the podcast is in good order, and everything seems to be looking a little bit up.
Sweet.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Well, let me know the things you need too, because I can fill Black Betty with some things. Black Betty, for all of you who don't know, Black Betty, she's my band. Black Betty, bam, ba bam. And bring some stuff up if you need.
I appreciate that. I think my primary focus is going to be the studio. I can sleep on the couch or toss up my bed real quick, but what I'm most excited for is to get a nice fresh table with a new mixing board and a whole bunch of microphones and some cameras, and just really get what would be the guest bedroom for a normal person is going to be the Anything That Fires studio. So maybe you can come visit me on some weekends and we can do in-person podcasts and things of that nature. So
ooh,
yeah,
multiple camera angles,
absolutely.
Sweet.
So that's going to be exciting. Perfect. I hope you will be.
I just said so.
I trust you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So that's my weekend summary. How was your weekend? Anything exciting?
I just had a nice weekend. Some yard work, chilling out. Went to the barn to work on snicks a little bit. Julie and I grabbed lunch. Yeah, good times.
Good.
Had lunch at Carrabba's.
Ooh,
good food.
Always tasty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, as far as my lunch adventures went, well, first of all, I was supposed to have dinner with Riley on Friday, but long story, but I'll jump ahead a little bit. Started pouring down rain. He couldn't make it, so I entertained myself in other ways. But Saturday morning, we took him and his wife to the Rail of Dublin, which is all like Ohio-sourced beef, delicious burgers, good drinks, just a really nice local restaurant with all Ohio ingredients and everything. And
really,
yeah. So
nice.
I fell asleep on them last weekend and didn't make it to their house for the fire and everything. So I made it up to them by buying them lunch, and we went a little.
Very nice of you.
I mean, it was payday, so I didn't mind at all. It was a stressful week, so Riley and I started with a shot of Jack, and then a beer, and then a flight of mimosas, and his wife was getting a little upset, feeling like a third wheel, because him and I were sharing a flight of mimosas, passing them back and forth like pinkies up.
Okay, well, when you said sharing, I just want to make sure it wasn't like one glass, two straws, and you're chit-chatting over the table, looking into each other's eyes, and she's over there like, well, I guess I'll text a friend.
Not quite, but close enough. I kind of felt bad for her. So I'd like drink half of, one of the mimosas, be like, yeah, that's good. It was like 4 different flavors on a plate, and then pass it to him and be like, yeah, that is good. I'm going to finish that. And then you're sitting there eating my burger, and he's like, ooh, these sweet fries are good. Dipped one in his spicy ranch or whatever and reached over the table and like fed it to me. I was like, Sky, I am so sorry. I know this is your husband, but he's also my best friend, and I know we're kind of yeah. So I think
I'm not even sure if I've ever fed you across the table.
Well, maybe next time. Julie can feel like third wheel.
Next time.
So yeah, that was all in a little hair of the dog in the name of recovery from the night prior.
There you go.
Being that I was supposed to take him to dinner, just out of work. It was payday, so we get to do 8 and skate, as they call it. So only worked 8 hours, and then got to hop on down the road and enjoy our weekend. And I was informed that our electrical engineer, being that he's leaving, we're having a little going away party at a sports bar down the street. I was like, I'll stop in for a beer, and then I'm gonna take my buddy out to dinner. So 4 hours later, I realized that everybody was shit-faced. Honestly, 100%. Sitting on the patio of the sports bar, I realized everyone was shit-faced. Myself verging on being included in that. And yeah, human resources department was like, dancing and buying shots, and the engineer Josh was reasonably shit-faced, and yeah, everyone was just having a good time. And all of a sudden, we were down the road for tacos, ate some tacos, let some folks sober up, kind of took care of some people, and got everybody.
Where did you go for tacos?
You might be jealous if I tell you.
I'm going to be jealous. Go ahead, tell me.
Via Bonita, right by my current place.
Oh, so good.
That's the place
you gotta give a shout out to them. So good.
So good. Some of the best, like, all over Mexican I've found in the city. There's some really solid taco joints and taco trucks and everything, but this place, they have good drinks, good ceviche, good enchilada, everything. It's just amazing. Super delicious. So that's where we went. It was about 11 p.m. at that point. We only let Josh. Yeah. So party started at like 4:30. 11 p.m. we're eating tacos.
Hey, you gotta fill the belly.
Absolutely. And then it was probably about 11 midnight or so. Garrett and I found ourselves at one of the former employees that stopped to say goodbye to Josh. Her apartment complex, swimming in a 24-hour saltwater pool.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, 4:00. I'm like, yeah, I'll have one beer. 12:30, I'm in a pool in the middle of I don't know where, Polaris area, just having a good time, enjoying Friday. And thank God I opted out of work on Saturday, because I wouldn't have really enjoyed being there.
True, but I also know you that if you did work and were scheduled for the next day, you wouldn't have been 4 hours later and then like an hour later at a taco place. So you would have had a couple of beers and cruise. But yeah, that's part of being responsible.
Yeah, I try my best.
You enjoyed your time and you didn't have to go to work.
Yeah, Garrett had to go to work, and as far as I understand, it was a rough 5 hours, a little half day on Saturday. 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. So,
yeah, lovely. Yeah, he must have felt great waking up at 5.
Yeah, he probably did a lot of sleeping Saturday evening.
Probably.
But one of the real nice things about that is, all of the coworkers, you exist in a professional environment, and some of the people I was drinking with were there for my orientation. Fill out this paperwork. This is our health insurance. Don't be an asshole. Yada yada. Professionalism. And then I turn around at the sports bar, and they're walking with like 6 shots in their hands, like, who wants a duck fart?
A duck fart.
That's what I said. I had never known what a duck fart was. I still don't know.
Heard of it. In fact, it tastes like. So, what does a duck fart taste like?
Not as bad as you'd expect. It kind of tasted like, I don't know, like Guinness and something. Like, it was kind of like a creamy shot. Let me see if I can't.
Well, at least they didn't order you a goose shart. Right.
A duck fart is a layered shot with Kahlua, Bailey's Irish Cream, and whiskey. So
okay,
yeah, pretty tasty. Went down smooth, and then after the first person walked out with an armful of shots, everybody did one. Someone came right behind him, a fellow coworker. I think it was like one of the engineers. They're like, "Duck farts!" It's like, what the fuck? Nice. Didn't we just do that? Am I perceiving time improperly? Am I that drunk? No, it was just like 30 seconds in between, and a lot of people opted out of the second duck fart, but I said, meh, I'll do it. Meh.
Okay.
Yeah, that was probably like hour 2, and after a lot of cornhole and billiards, yeah, time flew. So
I bet it's nice to have fun.
Yeah, and
yeah.
Josh's last official day was today, so he was walking around and shaking hands, and he's like, I had a great time Friday night. Thanks for making me stop drinking. That was very much the point. I should have stopped. And are we doing it again next payday? It's like, yeah, I think we are.
I think we are. Same time, same sandbox. Sweet.
Can't wait. Yeah, that's a summary of my chaos weekend. And even though I tried my best to hydrate, drank too many diuretics. Thank you, Sick Nick, over the course of the
Ooh,
weekend.
big
And
word now.
ooh, call me an English major. Uh, I was still trying to
English
catch up
major.
on my hydration all day at work, so
Oh, I'm sure.
little groggy,
Did
little
Did
slow
you
to
have a
start.
V8 with some hot sauce or anything like that?
That's not the way
What
I
was the one that
recover.
Brianna said? I forget. She had a couple of them. It was like a V8, hot sauce, black pepper, pickle juice. I don't know. It was a concoction,
Something that sounds
but
way
it
too
sounded
acidic for
yummy.
me. I don't know. I still
Oh
might
yeah, that's true. You'd be burping all day.
burping and like afraid that I was gonna have to run to the bathroom after a duck shart or goose shart or whatever the fuck.
I had 6 duck farts last night, 2 goose sharts. Someone, someone get some large marshmallows I can use.
Oh, I'm confused and disgusted.
Yeah, it cuts down the acidity. Everyone use your imagination. I don't care.
Oh, yeah. So at this current moment, I've been sipping on an IPA, which is probably a poor choice because still in a dehydrated state. But I'm also chasing with water every sip. What are you
As am
drinking
I.
on?
Laguinas, little something.
Ooh, that's one of my favorite beers. Top 3.
Little something. So this nice little mug here from the Great Lakes Medieval Fair uh, gently and gingerly holds nice 24 ounces. So I'll hold 2 cans of a little something, and it's still cold. Just keep it cold all day.
How long you been sipping on that?
Well, I don't really sip. That's probably so I haven't had dinner yet. But anyways, one beer is gone, and second glass maybe, I don't know, a mug, whatever you call them. No, it might not be the second, but I like a good IPA. I like some beers that you can't see through. You know, I don't know. Like you've gotten me the Dragon's Milk a couple of times. So good. Nothing like a good bourbon ale. Oh boy, oh boy.
Yeah, I'll get some nasty looks at a bar. I'll go in the dead heat of summer, 90 degrees outside. I'm like, do you guys have any stouts? And look at me like I'm a psychopath. Like, no, not in August. We don't have any stouts.
Why don't you have stouts in August?
Yeah, that's blasphemy as far as I'm concerned.
Right? Like, it's my birthday month. I want a stout.
Stout fooling around.
That's
Yeah,
my boy.
that was the reach of a pun. I have to say, as groggy as I was today, I threw out some fire puns. Don't remember them, but they were very much dad jokes. And at one point, I was like, I'm a little afraid that maybe I have a child floating around out there that I. Not that I've gotten around a whole bunch or something, but like my dad jokes are way too good.
You're just proficient, right? So there's nothing wrong with that.
It's hanging out with gunsplaining so much and him twisting English words around, being that he was almost a major
That's true.
or
I
something.
mean, he's a dictionary wizard.
Yeah, full of magic
Ooh,
and duck farts.
he probably is.
I wouldn't put it past him. Yeah. You have enough MREs and hot sauce in your days, so you're just destined to be forever made of duck farts.
I tell you, MREs and especially when they give you too many boxes and you're just like tearing through them and you're eating them all, and then you're like, whew, I haven't pooped in 3 days. I should
So,
drink more water.
speaking of, if you would be so inclined to tell, what's your best MRE related story?
I don't know. Should I tell that today?
I think it's the proper
Pretty sure it's
occasion. We don't have any guests to really be, inclined to not come back on the
offended in any way,
podcast.
shape, or form.
Correct.
Well, it is a true story. The whole 3-day thing there. Had a whole bunch of MREs. We're down in June doing some training, the flight armor recon. So at 81 Mike mortars mounted inside the LAVs. So fun. And we just had boxes and boxes of MREs. I guess they had to get rid of some so they could buy more. And just going through their rat fucking them. Sorry, that's just the term that you're tearing something open and you're grabbing what you want. It's not like you have to sit down and eat the entire meal. You're just eating stuff all the time. So after the third day, I mean, my stomach was killing me, and I realized, I was like, how long have we been out here? Guys are like, 3 days. I'm like, man, last time I took a dump, I was on porcelain. We've been bivouacking the whole time, and there's no porcelain out here. So I started pumping not pumping the water, but hydrating a lot, because even though the MRE is ready to eat, you should drink 1 canteen or 1 quart of water per meal, right? To maintain your balance. Yeah, I wasn't doing that because I don't know what I was eating. So after several times of urinating and hydrating, and then it was like, ooh, all right, I'm going to go get rid of some of this. Grab the shovel. One of the nice things about being in vehicles and stuff, you get the nice long shovels. You don't have to just use a little shovel to dig a hole. Dug a hole right next to a tree. The foam that comes in with the ammo and everything, nice little foam pads in the ammo crate. Sit that against the bark so I can rest my backside against something. And next thing I know, I'm like a Play-Doh factory. It's in a 1 foot deep hole, and it's still attached to me. So now I got the shovel, and I'm like trying to wiggle and stuff, and hoping something will snap off. But I'm like, man, if this snaps off, it might just fall forward and land in my shorts. So I got to make sure that my feet are forward. And I got the shovel. I'm kind of like walking away from the hole and shaking and wiggling. And I'm laughing because I look like a guy working a gondola and trying not to crap in my pants. But like I said, I'm a Play-Doh factory. Yeah, that thing's still attached. Finally snapped off. I can't believe I'm telling you all this story. Put a big old hot and curly at the top of it, and finished up. And that thing was probably about 6 feet long. Laid out beautifully along the pine needles along the ground. And yeah, I had to go share it. So I had to go get all the other Marines to come look at it. And this was before cell phones and stuff. So it was like, okay, who's got a camera? Who's got a camera? Nobody had a camera, because I was going to lay next to it and get a picture of it and send it to like Guinness Book and see if I beat the record or anything.
That would be a very confusing submission to the Guinness Book of World Records.
Yeah, so this was probably 93 or 94. So I'm sure someone's beat that record by now. But yeah, when eating dehydrated food, make sure that you do hydrate yourself.
That is some pure life knowledge from Matalava.
You're welcome. And I kept the story condensed. Don't worry, I never messed myself in any way, shape, or form. We're good.
All right. Well, coming at 30 minutes, like I said prior, I had a lot of
Alrighty.
fluid, so I'm going to do a little bit of. We'll be back in 5 break. I'm going to run to the restroom here real
Okay.
quick. And when we come back, I might try to spark one more shit story from your memory, being that we're on the topic after all.
Shit story. Huh.
Huh. I wonder what that
Okay.
might be. And then I've got a little bit of a deep dive topic ish kind of that we'll get into. And I don't have too much time for a very long cast tonight with the ATF. So maybe cut it an hour, hour and a half, which is kind of what we usually do. So, nothing too unexpected. But we'll catch you guys back in 5.
Okay.
Alrighty. And we're back. I was muted.
Okay, there we go. It was you. I was like, oh, these things die? No, I just charged them.
No, it's all my fault.
Oh,
So back
back.
onto one of the probably most professional topics that we could ever really get delved in here on the ATF Cast. Shit and shit accessories.
Shit accessories. Don't forget to buy your Turd Cutter 2000. I don't know what that is, but
I don't know what it is either, but it might be effective. When I was a kid,
yeah,
where will this go? You coming and picking me up and us taking long drives in the vehicle, I would frequently ask you to tell me questions of your time in the Marine Corps. Frequently, as the life of MREs would spawn, they involved shit. I'm sorry, I'm making that public. But
hey, I agreed to do the podcast, but let's see where this is going. Okay.
There's some kind of recollection in my mind regarding guard duty and a trash bag.
Yes. Well, when you're on guard duty, sometimes you can't. You got to relieve yourself. And when you're spending 4 hours in a tower 80 feet off of the ground, tower watch, sometimes you got to go. Now, a lot of times you can just pick up the phone and call the guardhouse or whatever and ask to be relieved for a little bit, so they'll come swap out tower sentries so that you can go and relieve yourself and then change out again. But this time didn't have a relief. It's like, oh, come on, I gotta go, and I gotta go now. That the fourth plate of chili mac or whatever the heck I ate that the Navy had brought to us is cutting through me, and I gotta go. And they're like, dude, there's no way. I'm like, oh. So I called one of the motor patrols and asked them to go get me a hefty bag and a roll of toilet paper. He's like, what? I said, go get me two or three hefty bags. I mean, this is going to be horrible, right? Because I contemplated just leaning over the side and letting go, but it was one of those windy days where the wind was coming this direction and then that direction and whirling around. So letting one out of a tower to an open stairwell underneath it, that'd just be extremely rude. So I'm like, dude, just bring me a trash bag. I gotta go. The sergeant of guard said, I don't know, use a trash bag. I'm like, where the hell are they gonna get one? So one of the guys brought me a few trash bags and a roll of toilet paper, and I just went out on the catwalk, still watching, doing my guardly duties, making sure the world is secure, while I drop into a trash bag and do my business, wipe and everything, no problems, right? Roll it all up, tie it up, and but now I got this bag of crap sitting there. I'm like, all right. So I was supposed to get relieved, and before the other platoon came down, and I would be relieved by our guys, which they would just laugh at each other, right? But being relieved by another platoon and holding a bag of poop might be a little weird. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm stuck up here until the other platoon comes. So I'm like, there's no way in hell I could be sitting here with a bag of crap and get relieved. So I called one of the motor patrol sentries, Boyle, and I'm like, dude, you got to do me a huge favor. You got to get rid of my bag of crap. He's like, what? I'm like, dude, come on. I got a bag of crap up here. He's like, oh my God, you're an idiot. So we're yelling. I'm in the tower, obviously. I'm yelling down at him, asking him for his. I'm like, I'll buy you a 30-pack of whatever beer you want. Or he's like, how about a bottle? I'm like, fine, bottle of Jack, whatever you want, I will get it for you. He's like, fine, just drop it. So I throw this bag, and you just hear, pow! You just hear it smack. He is so mad at me. Runs over in the grass, picks it up. He's just holding it by my couple of fingers. I thought he was going to throw it in the back of the truck and go to a dumpster to throw it. He just goes running over to one of the drain tiles.
Oh, no.
And he's swinging it, and then he just gives it a launch. You just hear, down this drain tile. The corrugated steel ones. I'm in tears laughing. He's flipping me off and yelling, you owe me one. Jumps in his truck and takes off. About 3 minutes later, the other platoon pulled up to relieve me of guard duty. I mean, situation dictates, right? You got to improvise, adapt, overcome. Everyone's heard that. I always say situation dictates. This situation dictated asking a friend for some help and buying him a fifth of Jack or whatever he wanted.
I know I made it seem like the majority of stories you told me were shit stories, but I mean, really, those are the only two that I have in any kind of recollection. So it wasn't like I was 10 years old and you're just telling me shit story after shit story. So I just want to make that obvious to the audience.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, everybody does it every day. I mean, some people don't, but you probably need to hydrate or see a doctor. But you should be doing it at least once a day. So yeah, I'm sure everyone has a good poop story out there somewhere. Don't forget to write us. Put comments in there. Let us know.
If you've got a good shit story, be sure to get yourself scheduled on the ATF Cast because we would love to hear about your poop.
Oh, absolutely. Shit happens. I mean, we want to hear about it.
Of course, this started with inspiration of being a firearms podcast, but we veer in all directions. If that's not obvious to you already.
Your backside fires off, so that's part of the title.
Yeah, it works in there. So I'm just gonna take a wide veer to right or left, however you want to perceive it.
Perfect. I don't care which direction you go, but we got to turn.
In the spirit of an almost English grad, I would like to ask you, what is your favorite word in the English language?
My favorite word?
Correct. Or if you've got a couple, you can shoot them. Yeah, probably not a common question you receive.
Yeah, no, not really. I mean, I'm just trying to think of some words that I will typically use or whatever. I a lot of times say situation dictates, so it depends on the situation. So situation is a good word, I guess. You could use it in any situation, right? Transpires. I like to say, we'll see what transpires, right? So, I don't know, we'll see what happens. We'll see what transpires. I don't know. I never really thought of my favorite word or whatever. I mean, erythema infecciosa sounds very impressive. I think it's just an allergy to the sun. Try to spell it? No. Thesaurus. I always thought thesaurus was a fun word. It's like, well, let's look at the thesaurus and see what we can find. It's like, okay, I don't know. So, do you have a particular word that you find interesting?
I do have a particular word that I find interesting. I say a lot. I'm trying to work on that. The first time I heard it was Full Metal Jacket. There's a character in that film that wears a peace pin on his body, and one of his superiors, hey, a little something.
Yeah.
Comes over and he asks him, what the fuck's up with the peace pin? And he expresses it representing the duality of man. So duality is my favorite word. And I think second coming up would probably be ineffable. But
nice.
Yeah, thanks. I think they're fun words. But as far as duality goes, again, I'm going to take a veer right back in the direction we came from and try
duality
to...
of poop? You poop twice?
No, not in the realm of
nice
poop.
One hard.
In the realm of stories you told me frequently as a child, there's one that very much features the word duality. I think you used it, or at least I perceive that you would have used it in the situation regarding man's ability to both be artistic and violent.
Yes.
If you're willing to share that to our very finite amount of listeners here, I would enjoy that.
I think you're referring to a time that one of the colonels asked me, or was telling me that I kind of confused him. I'm like, what do you mean, sir? He's like, well, you listen to classical music, you read like philosophy, poetry, you write poetry, you paint, you would rather drink like a glass of bourbon while the other Marines are just pounding beers and screaming. You're religious, you're funny, but all the guys, you outrun them, you outshoot them, you outclimb them, you outswim them, and all of them say that you are an aggressive individual when the situation dictates. And I was like, well, sir, I'm just a true Marine. He's like, what do you mean by that? I was like, well, I'm able to caress with one hand while I still kill with the other. So I'm able to protect and defend. I'm not, so that's always been who I am. I've always enjoyed lots of things, right? I enjoy poetry and philosophy and the Bible. I'm religious. I like Proverbs and well, there's many books in the Bible that I like, but I'm also someone who wants to maintain a skill to not only keep myself safe, but to keep those around me safe. So I'll stand for those who can't stand for themselves, or I'll fight for those who can't fight for themselves. And I'll do what's necessary to do so. Marines aren't taught to kill. Marines are taught to survive. That's my perspective, right? A lot of people are like, well, the military teaches you how to kill. The military doesn't just put time into you to teach you to kill. They teach you how to survive, to live another day, and to be able to protect those who cannot protect themselves more efficiently. So, my perspective. But I think that's what you're referring to. I'm able to caress with one hand while I am able to kill with the other.
That is exactly what I was referring to. It is a story that is really stuck solid in my mind, especially after growing to a point in my childhood where I could actually perceive words that I saw on popular culture or just with peers in conversation, and apply them to a story my dad told me or apply them to a situation in my life. You
Yep.
know, I'm pretty certain I heard that story well before I heard the word duality, and it was just kind of an interconnection in my mind, connecting the two and really having a feel of, what you meant in that moment and what you meant with that story.
Right.
As far as the military teaching you how to survive more than how to kill, what do you think is the most effective class of knowledge that you were taught in the military as far as survival? Is it, like camping skills? Is it situational awareness? Something along those lines?
It really depends on the branch, right? So some people make fun of the Air Force, and they're like, "Oh, the Air Force is just a bunch of brainiacs, and they're a bunch of sissies." No, no, they're not, right? So the majority of the Air Force is not a combat oriented group, right? They're more of a support group, and they do their job very, very well, right? The Navy has, a lot of guys are like, oh, they're just on a ship. Well, you have to protect an entire city that's floating, right? You got an aircraft carrier, and you have the support group that is with it. You have to protect everything around it. So, yeah, they might not be trained in certain hands of combat as other groups, but there are certain units in the Army itself that aren't overly trained in combat, right? The Marine Corps, you're a rifleman first. I still believe that. So you better know how to shoot, because if a bunch of Marines get to a point where they can't go on patrol anymore because they're dead or whatever's happening, and they look at you and you're the refrigerator repairman in the Marine Corps, grab your gear, let's go. You're going to fall in line, right? So it kind of depends on the military branch. For me, the Marine Corps teaches so much. They're teach you the history of the Marine Corps. They teach you uh, courtesy, discipline. They teach you how to be proper, right? I mean, I could wolf down a plate of food pretty darn quick, but you also better have good manners, right? So there's a time and a place for everything. It is easier for someone who is uncouth. Well, nah, it it's not easy for someone to be who is uncouth to be couth, right? To have good manners. It is easier for a gentleman who has good manners to act like someone who doesn't than it is than someone who does not be able to act like a gentleman, right? So they want everyone educated very well. I don't know where the whole crayon eating thing came along. Marines just eat crayons or whatever. I don't know where that came along. But the Marine Corps, you have to have the same kind of test score to get into the Marines as you do to the Air Force. So we have the same qualifications in that. So if you think just the Air Force is a bunch of brainiacs, yeah, you have to have a good test score, right? You need to know what's going on. You have to be able to be taught. As far as survival and things, you're taught that your mind is your primary weapon, right? When I joined the Marine Corps, I did not realize how many classes I would be sitting in. You're sitting in biological, chemical warfare, nuclear. Um, you're learning history. You're learning explosives. You're learning how to build bunkers and this, that. You have to be clean. You have to be smart. There's such a wide realm of survival skills that they teach you that it's really hard just to place on one. right? Teaching you self-reliance and teaching you to know yourself and to push yourself past what limits you think you have is probably uh, the top, right? I mean, I know I'm kind of bouncing around doing this huge talk, but that's what I do. I talk a lot. Um, yeah, I really can't focus on one skill that they teach you. Probably the primary thing that they teach you is that you can endure. There is so much more that you can handle as a human than what you think you can. And that is probably the greatest lessons that you can learn.
I very much appreciate the bouncing around and going for a full circle with the answer. And I'm inclined to ask kind of the opposite answer in the same field, and it likely, or ask the same question, and it likely holds the same answer. But as far as, we talked about the survival. As far as the survival with the means of violence um, as necessary, was it hand-to-hand combat or the manipulation of a weapon or the mindset or perception of threats? What aspect of survival as far as fighting goes was the most important to you, and what sticks to you most today to instill you with the confidence that you can survive any situation?
A lot of it's situational awareness. So if you stay awake, you stay alive, right? So being aware of what's going on around you is very important. Now, being someone who is watching everything at every single second, at every moment, and you're like, okay, is Nana with the cane more of a violent threat, or is that guy 200 yards away a threat? You kind of have to take in the whole scope of what's going on, right? It doesn't have to be trying to narrow in on someone in particular. If you see something that is a little weird, or your gut says, I don't like this, the first thing you want to do is listen to your gut, right? Uh, so situational awareness, just being aware of your surroundings, what the heck's going on. I don't come out of any store looking at my phone, scrolling and looking for the next coupon to the next store I have to go. I don't know if people use coupons, but I'm not looking at my list. I'm walking. I'll step out of the store. I kind of look at my peripherals real quick just to make sure that I'm kind of clean and easy going. Right? I don't have a truck that just jumped the curb that's going to run me over. I might want to know that. I'm not always looking for a guy with a gun. I'm not trying to find a sniper across the street in the window. The window's open and the curtains blow, and I'm like, oh, there's probably a sniper in there. I don't want to be paranoid, but you want to look at your surroundings and see what's going on, right? I'm going to pay attention to what the heck I'm doing. Not only, like I said, because I'm afraid of getting mugged or robbed or shot. There's a lot of idiot drivers out there. So if someone jumps a curb because they want to pick up their pizza and they're not paying attention to me coming out of the pizza place, I don't want ran over because I'm getting my food, right? So there always has to be a good situational awareness. I use that when I'm driving. I don't just watch the car in front of me and wait for my exit to maybe come up. I'm looking as far as I can possibly see, scanning back to the vehicle in front of me, making sure what they're doing. I'm just going to scan all the way up because I want to see a couple of miles away if there's nothing but brake lights. So I know I need to hit my brakes before the person in front of me who's not paying attention jams on theirs. So I think situational awareness and just paying attention to the things around you comes in very handy. Now, it also has its flaws because there's a lot of things that I see that I didn't want to see. There may be a particular person wearing something that they probably shouldn't be wearing, bent over picking up something or tying their shoe, and I didn't really want to see that day. Right? So, uh, but I've always also been a little bit like that. I've noticed the clouds, I've noticed the stars, I see the flowers, I listen to the birds. Just being aware around you makes life a little bit nicer. Instead of staring at something while you're walking, enjoy the day that you have about you.
Hmm.
So, probably situational awareness is what I would say start with. Just pay attention to life.
I think that's very well said.
Thank you.
I kind of want to tie that back to our previous discussion regarding duality.
Oh, good.
So if I can do this successfully, um, in psychology, it's often referenced that the creation of who a person is, at the current moment, is a combination of both nature and nurture. Do you accredit your ability to be a dual person, one that represents duality, to primarily nature? Do you think it's something that you're born with, kind of an instinct, or do you accredit it also, or primarily a lot, to your upbringing, your parents, the way you're raised?
I think it's a good combination of both. I think nature and nurture come in well. Some of the people that grow older and they treat other people like crap, and they're like, "Well, my dad was a jerk." Okay, did you like him? No. Well, then why do you want to be him? Right? I mean, some people will say, they act a certain way because of. Well, this is an excuse. Right? There are some people who were treated poorly that are still very good people. Right? Uh, I wasn't treated poorly. I had a wonderful upbringing. I have wonderful parents, beautiful brothers and sisters. Right? I mean, my grandparents, amazing. They instilled in me a lot of different things, along with my friends. So nature is part of who you are to begin with, right? Some people put a lot into people's names, or uh, I'm a Scorpio, right? So they put a lot into certain things. Um, my given name, Matthew, and my middle name, Raymond, translated would be gift from God, wise protector. Is that why I joined the Marine Corps? Right? Is it because of my name? Was my name chosen because of my spirit? I don't know. I do know that I was raised very well. I didn't have horrible things that I had to go through. I never knew that we didn't have money for food, right? So if we were poor because my dad's working hard, my mom's stay at home mom to maintain and raise us properly, and so we have one income, 5 children, 7 people in the home. If we were poor, I didn't know it, right? So I never went hungry. I never went without love. Some people are raised without love. Some overcome that, some don't. So, nature and nurture, I think a lot of that comes from the individual themselves, right? So, not only was I loved and protected and raised right and given good morals and a good foundation in God and growing in my community and good friends. But part of the friends that you choose also help, right? So a lot of people say, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. People grow past that. Some people build past that. It all depends. But if you're trying to figure out if one is greater than the other, for me, both of them played an equal part in raising me. Because then I also went to the Marine Corps, and I had those who came before me teach me, right? But I was willing to learn. When the pupil is ready, the teacher shall appear. You can't teach anybody anything if they're not ready. So when the pupil is ready, the teacher shall appear. I was always willing to learn more things. So I don't know if that really answers your question.
I very much did.
All right.
And I think you had about like 12 solid one-liners of inspiration in there. So I very much appreciate that. Something I've been trying to do a lot more of in life, just in regular conversation, and especially with the podcast, while I'm trying to grow my interviewing skills and things of that nature. I've been trying to ask more people, what is their one point of advice that they could provide someone that's young in life or even very far in life that would very much benefit their growing of a person? So I'm going to ask you, what is one piece of advice that you could really provide to anybody, no matter what walk of life or what situation they're in, that would provide them an opportunity to grow and hopefully perceive the world in a more educational and successful fashion?
Yes. That's a big question. One of the things I always said to new parents was just wait. Like, oh man, I got to change the diaper and blah, blah, blah. Okay, just wait. At some point, like life is ever changing and evolving, right? We will sit here and go through the day to day to day. Everything's the same day to day. And at some point we look back and we're like, wow, so many things have changed, right? When I was growing up, I had to get up and click, 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 change the channel if I wanted to. And now people watch TV on their watch, right? Just so many things change, but the day to day is the same in a lot of things. So my advice to a lot of people is to just wait. Okay. Don't panic is part of that. Just wait. Don't panic. Don't fear. You don't know what's going to happen. Don't panic about it. Just wait. Okay. Take the information that you have at the time and make the best decision that you can. A lot of people look back in life and they regret, because what I know now is so much different than what I did then. Okay. But if you make the best decisions that you can with the information that you have at hand at the time, you're doing pretty damn well. So just wait. Life changes. Life gets better. Sometimes life gets worse. It sucks sometimes. Some of the people that you love, you watch them suffer with cancer and you watch them disappear, part of them. But they also are instilling in you and providing you a little bit of strength that you didn't have to deal with some of that to begin with. You become a little bit more resilient not that you have to be totally protected of it or disregard it in any way, but you now understand it better. So a lot of things in life, just wait, see what transpires. And
Thank you.
You're welcome. And do the best that you can with what you know.
Situation dictates.
Situation dictates, precisely.
I'd like to.
Precisely. I use that a lot.
You do use that a lot. I have noticed that. I like to toss a thank you to Gunsplaining / Sick Nick / Pickle Rickle, whatever you call him. He says the best piece of advice he ever got is that it is more important to understand than to be understood. What is your take on that, Pops?
That is just pure wisdom, right? I don't know. Have to understand the artist, right? As long as they understood what they were doing, right? Salvador Dali, he knew what he was doing. I look at his paintings, I'm like, well, that's kind of crazy. Gorgeous, right? They're phenomenal. Are they totally weird? Some of them, and you're looking at them like, what the hell? I don't have to understand exactly what he did, but he understood what he was doing. So it is better to understand than it is to be understood.
I like that one a lot. Me too. I like these little sound bites, not the ones you usually find in mainstream media and stuff that birth fear and all these other tumultuous emotions in us, but these little pieces of advice and wisdom that you can recall on a hard day or even a good one and just go through life with a little bit of a larger smile. I would like to reference an old Halava piece of advice and wisdom that we say here commonly on the podcast, and I don't think we've very much explained it in depth, and I kind of like to go into that now, even though it's it's not very involved, but we frequently say, keep your eye on the moon. I think it'd be best that you take grasp on that conversation and explain where that came from and what exactly it means.
It means several things, right? Primarily, it means keep your eye on the moon is because we're all under the same moon, right? So no matter where I was while I was in the Marines, when I looked at the moon, I knew that my dad was looking at the same moon, right? Because he was the one that, no matter where you are, keep your eye on the moon. I say that to you, right? You're 2.5 hours away from me, and hey, keep your eye on the moon. So anytime you see the moon, whether it's during the day or night, I'm thinking about you too, because I'm looking at the same moon. So that's the primary. The other is to, reach for the stars. Keep your eye on the moon. Kind of look towards that guidance and that thing that you want and go for it. There's nothing wrong with it. Because let's say you fail. I'm right there with you if you do. Because you and I are under the same moon. And if you reach for the moon and you miss, you're still heading for the stars. Right? And I'm still there with you. So, but primarily it's the thought of family is still together no matter how far apart.
It's very much stuck with me in life. And at one point, I imagine it was you that said it. You're very much the conveyor of these family lessons that you received as a child to me and to Bree and, Hunter and Alyssa and everyone down beyond us. At one point, it was told to me that you should speak to the moon as if it's your friend and tell it your dreams and desires, because so frequently in life we have these goals and these aspirations that we can very easily lose sight of. And if you speak those dreams and aspirations and goals to the stars or to the moon. You can always look up and be reminded of where you're trying to go in life, and that it's still there and still obtainable, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Absolutely. So reach for the stars.
Reach for the stars. Maybe that's one of the reasons I'm so very much obsessed with space and space travel and rocketry. And
maybe some of the space books and stuff that I had laying around too. So how to find your right? I mean, I don't know. I've always been interested in the stars and space and geology and just nature. So I think that you fell suit to that. They transcribed over to you and Brianna, along with using bigger words or whatever. Because going to words, one of my favorite word stories. When you guys were little, I would like to use larger words, to be the thesaurus, so that you understood different words, and when you heard them, you just knew, right? So I would always say ridiculous. You're being ridiculous. You know where I'm going with this story, don't you?
Yes.
Yes. So instead of you're being silly and you're being funny, hey, you are being ridiculous. And you guys understood that you're being silly, you're being funny, you're being ridiculous. It's a great word. So when Brianna was little, had her in the shopping cart, push up there, putting my groceries up, and there's the cashier. She's probably 55, 60-year-old young lady, and she's ringing us out. And I'm being silly with Brianna because she's just a little baby, whatever, right? And that not that she was a total baby, but I'm just being ridiculous. So I'm putting stuff up there, and Brianna's just like, "Oh, Papa, you're dickless." And I look at her and I said, yeah. I look over and the cashier is just like, she is ready to wet herself, wanting to laugh so hard. I said, yes, Papa is ridiculous. I said, how can you be upset with that? And the woman just busts up laughing. She's having a great time. And she's like, you can't. I'm like, no, I'm going to remember the story forever, and I'm going to tell everyone. And the cashier's like, so am I. This little 2-year-old told her daddy's dickless. Oh, fantastic. What a beautiful story, right? I love that stuff.
I love stories, and I especially love ones that remind me of, some positive aspects of my upbringing that have provided me, little trinkets of education to, roll me into where I am today in life. Like, I very much appreciate, it wasn't just you, it was the whole family that wasn't shy of using large and intricate words with us. And I think that very much spawned my fascination with writing and, having conversations and everything that I'm, that are really the foundation of my hobbies today.
Good.
So,
your mom read a lot. I don't know if she still does, but she did. I think she probably still does.
She does.
Good.
It's good. And it's something I'm trying to get back into. I think there's something very special about opening a book and getting a deep dive into an author's mind and the way that they manipulate words to convey their feelings in a story and all of these things. I'm really trying to work on my abilities to use words to convey my thoughts and feelings and stories and things today. And that's one of the big reasons why I was so excited to do this podcast, and still very much look forward to it every day that we get to do it. And
Me too. That was awesome.
It is awesome. And I think that with all of that sound advice and the nice little heartfelt reminiscence of why we are the way we are today is a great way to close out the podcast on this beautiful Monday evening. So, everybody, if you could please remember a few words of advice. 1, just wait. 2, it's more important to understand than to be understood. And 3, to keep your eye on the moon. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. It's been a wonderful time sitting here, speaking with my father, and having some folks sitting in here listening to us. You can find us most Sundays at 4 p.m. if everything's going proper. We're still pretty new at this. We don't know our Father's Day plans. We may be vacant next Sunday, but you can catch us the Sunday thereafter, 4 p.m., live on Twitch and YouTube at Anything That Fires. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and be sure to keep your eye on the moon.
Keep your eye on the moon. Take care.
We'll catch you guys next time. Have a good one.